Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Ford. You got me, Solomon here, and we are at CA Conversions up in Pensacola, Florida, because Goldust is getting a new transmission. We're doing an Allison 1000 6-speed, and if you guys haven't yet, go check out the last video that we put out where we road tripped up here, and then I did a full tour of this place. Casey explains everything, and now is part one of getting that transmission in. So it is Tuesday morning, it's about 11 o'clock, and here's where we are. Truck is all together. The 47 RE is still in her, and we're actually about to pull my motor off of the dyno, or not my motor, my transmission off of the dyno, and let me show you guys that real fast. So here we go. Painted beautiful powder coated yellow. Got my tag on it, all the goodies, and once we start tearing it apart, I will show you guys.
First things first, get the battery in.
Have to be out with the old and in with the new. It's an oily mess over here. Alright guys, so Dave was in the middle of showing us something and I want to show it to you guys. So what all were you just showing me?
Alright, what it is this is the front drum and the input on a 4748 Dodge transmission.
This is why they're so awesome, everybody loves them.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't care how much you beef this thing up, it's not going to be stronger than this. This is Allison. Now, humidity's gotten to the display sitting here, but anyway, yeah, I mean, the difference in that shaft, that's 3/4, that's 1.8 inches. Then, on top of it, you know, when you look at the size of the clutches that go in there, I mean, here. And you've got bands in a 4748. Allisons are all clutch packs, you know. And once again, now, you take that stock shaft and you put that one in, that's hardened material. I don't care how much you harden that, you're not gonna make it stronger.
Yeah.
I've got guys running, lots of customers running 1,200, 1,400 horsepower through these transmissions. I got one guy, 1,432 horse, year and a half before he broke it.
Wow.
Yeah. And he takes it as a drag strip on Friday nights, and it's his daily driver, and he runs it. It's a 6.7 truck.
So what you're saying is that size does matter sometimes.
Well, yeah, it can. You know, I mean,
it ain't all about the motion in the ocean. Sometimes,
when you can figure out how to make a steel 1/4 inch bolt stronger than a 1/2 inch bolt, let me know. It ain't gonna happen.
Awesome. All right, well, we're gonna get back to tearing this apart.
Is we're going to shorten the rear one 3.5 inches and lengthen the front one 3.5 inches. What they end up doing is they'll cut the tube off, remachine it, weld it back on at the right length. This one they'll actually replace the tube from here to here. But you don't have to change all your ends and everything because you're still using the same transfer case with the transfer case adapter that we have. All right, what we got here is we've got a Allison 1000. You can tell by the tail housing that it is a 2011 and newer with the kidney shape and a 33 spline output. And then, being as a 2011, they didn't have a speed sensor on the bell housing, so we made the speed sensor adapter that's very easy to bolt on, and it reads off the torque converter for the input speed. Flex plate. The adapter from motor to transmission. If it's a common rail, we supply the O-ring. There's a universal fits all. We trimmed the ear on this as far as for the bypass on the head for coolant. And then we supply all the bolt-in kits ready to go. So you've got every bolt, you don't have to go get anything. And then my simple 8x10 glossy photos with arrows and circles. Keep it as simple as possible so you know what to do to put it all together.
Heck yeah.
It's just a good billet triple disc converter set up for stall scoop for the Cummins and everything. So it's basically just set up for this application. And then from there it's triple disc to hold the power that you're putting down and everything else.
Shiny.
Yep, shiny and new.
Alright guys, so we got the transmission sitting in there. It's not bolted in or anything, but the guys have to close up. At the end of the day, it's 5 o'clock, so we'll see you all in the morning. What's up everybody? Day 2, we're back over here, and we're going to continue getting this transmission in there. Right now, coming up with the game plan of the different things that we need to do. Still chilling right here since yesterday, and give you guys some updates as we got them. You guys, you can see we got a little bit of a clearance issue right over here. The speed sensor is hitting the floor, so we marked it. Now we're going to clearance that. Alright guys, so you can see just a little bit of clearancing. The old transmission was also needed some clearancing, you can see. So right here, gonna smack it a little bit.
Need clearance, Clarence.
Let's show you how we do her. Beat that thing like we owed it some money.
Yeah, we'll make it just clean up a little bit going forward, which gave us a little more stress removal.
So Nate, what are we gonna do to this transfer case, bud?
Well, we're just gonna get her washed up and get her cleaned up, ready to tear down and build it back better.
Heck yeah. Feels pretty good. You set it and forget it. Well, that's a lot cleaner than it was.
Alright, so what we're going to do here is 241 transfer case. Behind the automatic and Dodge, they ran a 23 spline, and with the power you're running, it's not that 23 is really weak, but it's not as strong as going into the 29 spline. I can show you the difference here. If you look at that input, we're changing over to that. And that'll get rid of basically your only weak point you got left in doing the whole conversion. So to do it, you got to basically tear the transfer case down so you can get in there and change it up. It's not a tough job. Okay, now what we got here is transfer case adapter. And you know, what I try to tell customers is what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this reluctor ring, which reads output speed. We're gonna put it on here. It's 1/1000th undersized, so you heat it, and then it goes on. And then what I always tell them to do is put this on, take a felt bit down through the hole, and mark the center of the hole, like that. And then when you put that ring on, as long as those teeth are over that mark, that's the center of that speed sensor, it will read it. That's all you gotta do. You don't have to slam it up here and worry about it, because the center of the speed sensor itself, that's what it's reading. So as long as that's in the middle and it's somewhere on this gear, it's going to read it properly. So we've got the reluctor ring, there's a 33-29 coupler. You want to grab a 23 coupler, I was going to show them difference in size. And then what we got here, this transfer case adapter is for the 2011 and up Allison out of a GM. They went to the kidney shape when they changed over to the Magnum transfer case. But it also has the bigger output shaft in the transmission, which is 33 spline instead of 29. And I don't know if you can see it here, but that's the 33, that's the 29. There's quite a bit of difference in size. But what we took out of this transfer case, we don't have a 23 on the shelf? Not one. Here, you can look at it this way. That's a 29, that's a 33. That much difference in size. And what we changed on the transfer case was the input for the coupler. We went from this, the 23 spline, to the 29. So you can see how much bigger it is and how much stronger.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So that's going to take care of it. Run that thing up, 1,000, 12, 1,400 horse. Nobody's broken one yet. I mean, there's always a possibility. There's a guy out there that's going to figure it out, but we haven't had any break them yet. And even the 23 spline, we have had a total of 2 that I know of that actually broke it. Both guys were running over 800 horse and pulling a trailer and getting on it and called laughing when they broke it.
Didn't listen to the recommendations to change.
And we had recommended they change to the 29 spline. I said, yep, you told me so. And the one guy had been doing a lot of street racing, and then he had a trailer on it. He says, I was on it, pull out. The other guy had a hay wagon full of hay on a four-wheel drive on a washboard road. And he says he was on that thing for all it was worth, throwing rocks and dirt everywhere with all 4 tires, and he broke his. So even the 23 is not that weak.
So what else do we have as part of that
And
kit?
other than that, what we got in the kit, it comes with the speed sensor, of course, the coupler, the adapter, the reluctor ring. And then what we do is we put all the bolts in to put it all together. So you have all the bolts you need. And some transfer cases, these are actually 3/8/16, other they're 10/150. We put both sets of bolts in because it's easier than trying to outguess what a guy's got. So you end up with 6 spare bolts. And then we supply the gaskets to put it all together. So once again, in our kit with everything, you literally have everything. You don't have to go get the hardware store.
Nice.
So, and that's it. So from there, what we're going to do is we're going to heat that up, put it on, cool it down, and then assemble the adapter, and the transfer case is ready to go up on the transmission.
What's the ideal temperature that you're checking with the thermometer?
We're getting up into that 450 to 500 range. And
When I do it, I shoot for 500.
yeah, right in
Just
the
makes it
450
slide
to
on
500
easy.
range. The only thing you have to be careful about is when you put it on the transfer case, you need to get it on square. I'll show you how to grab it with the pliers so you don't have an issue. And the other thing is when you go to cool it off so you don't burn the seal up, you just want to be careful. Get it down to, get enough water on it where you get it down to about 200 degrees, because if you cool it too quick, you can actually shrink that ring and then end up with shrinkage on that, the couple will form tight. So you don't want to overcool it, just like you don't want to overheat it either. You get some of these guys will take them up 1,000 degrees, which is crazy. And typically those are the guys that have a problem.
75, 80.
Plenty hot. And you want to grab it from the side so you can get a good hold on it. And
Slides right on there, huh?
right on. Oh, hang on. Yeah. And just pull it down. That's probably about enough. That's good. Yeah, I think we've got it down to, we're sitting about 180, 190. And that's enough that if it shrinks, it's on and you don't hurt the seal. And that's it.
Pretty straightforward. Heck yeah.
Now it's on and it won't come back off.
Yeah, you'll need to pull it off like with a press.
Yeah, you.
No, you won't.
Yeah.
Typically, if we need to take them off,
You gotta heat 'em.
You could do it with the press if you get a good grip
If you
on
get a
it.
good grip with the press,
But
you
if
get
I
it
need
off,
to take
but
it
most
off, I'll
times
take cut off wheel and cut it
cut it and
diagonal,
get it- putting a new
split
one
it,
on.
throw a new one on. All right, yeah, now the next step is the coupler, which goes between the transfer case and the transmission. There we go. Now it's ready to put the other gasket on, get it on the lift and get it up into the truck.
All right, guys, so I walked outside because I need to take a phone call, and by the time I come back in, these guys already got the transmission crossmember in place. So that's sitting back where it was, and then what all did you guys have to do? I could see Pops is welding something up, so.
Yeah, we're just welding up a bracket that goes between the factory rubber mount and this, just to space it all out.
Nice.
Just with how this has been shoved back in here because it's not in its factory location, we're just having to modify a bracket. Even though it's a Dodge frame, well, these are supposed to be here and it's just throwing it all out of alignment. So we're
Yeah.
just doing a quick little modification to make it all fit right.
Nice. Show you guys what he's welding up over here. All right, so once that thing is finished being welded up, we're gonna put it back in there. I'm gonna show you, and then it could get off the transmission jack. We can lower her down and then start with all the wiring. Getting somewhere, freaking getting somewhere. So excited. We got the mount in. Didn't record it because you can't really see much. It's all bolted down, and then now we can officially take it off the tranny thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh boy. I've got half an Allison swap.
I am more than half.
More than half? How far is the actual, compared to the wiring part, how much of this do you think?
Pretty much done. I mean, torque converter, starter.
Drive shafts go in, we gotta bolt up the torque converter, we gotta put the starter in, which is no big deal.
Fabricate all the stuff for your linkage and everything.
The shift linkage won't take but a few minutes because it's going to be standard, and what little fabrication, if anything, needs to be modified because your application is not a normal vehicle, and the wiring won't take but a couple minutes, and then we'll set the TPS up, and I mean, really, if we got on it noon tomorrow, we could pretty well have it ready to start.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
But like I say, it's not a tough project.
No, you told me, so when I originally called you up, I was like, hey, what is this gonna take? And you're like, I've had guys do it in their garage, or no, you said in their driveway at their home association type.
Oh, yeah, on their back. Yeah, they've done it, and they've never done anything but change their oil before, literally.
When you told me that, I was like, all right,
And when
this is
they're
gonna go
done,
good.
they're as proud as one of your kids when they, eat with a spoon the first time. I mean, it's honestly, it's cute. how excited these old guys will get. I mean, it's not uncommon. These guys are, you know, retired. You know, they sat in a cubicle their whole life and they change their own oil and watch racing. And then they do it themselves.
That's awesome.
But we take the time and, you know, hours and hours and hours on the phone, and we'll hand walk them through, because there's, you know, my typical line, if you're comfortable taking your transmission out and putting it back in, you can do the conversion. Yours is a little different because the frame is modified, you know, it's a 12 valve, you've got an old Ford body on it, so you've got a little bit of clearance issues, but overall, you see it's still nothing really done.
No, we only had that one area up front. We just lightly...
We got a little clearance on the fuel tank.
Yeah, right here. This is pretty close, but this is just a little lip, so we're gonna bend that, but no big deal.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so really,
the tightest part of everything is actually my downpipe over here that Hutch welded me up. This is the titanium one, and it's really close. It's actually touching this, so I'm likely gonna have to redo the downpipe, but it doesn't. It's not like it can't run.
Well, and if it was calculated, you know, what I'd have done if I were building the vehicle.
Yeah, then it never would have been an issue.
I would have put the motor in a little different, because on these, the way the floor is configured, the motors in these older Ford trucks weren't in straight. They were in at an angle. They were in a little bit of an angle. So the motor, if it had been, because if you look, the clearance from the motor to the frame over here opposed to that side, it's wider over here, because the whole motor is put in straight.
Wow.
The motor's in straight in the frame, because typical, you have more foot room on the driver's side. But typically, motors at a slight angle in the frame. And if the motor were, if I'd done it myself, I would have, just because I've done it so many times, I would have put the motor in a little bit of an angle, which would have gained that little bit of room. You know,
it is what it is. That's part of custom.
You don't have to have a lot of room, just as long as it doesn't hit.
Yep. That's part of the custom world.
Yep.
You know, it's trial and error. We keep going. We figure it out. Downpipe, it's not that hard. I mean, it's only like, what is that, like 15 inches? That's like a 15-inch pipe.
Yeah.
You know, just a bunch of cuts, but we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So
I think we're wrapping up for the day, huh?
yeah, I think so.
Awesome.
You know, we're ready for the drive shafts, you know, and then from there, the harness is ready to go. We'll get the torque converter bolted up. You know, won't take much time in the morning.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you guys heard that. We'll see you back in the morning, right over here, in the next clip. What up, everybody? So we're back over here. It's the next morning, and Goldust is still looking good. We're gonna get her off the lift because it's time to do some wiring. So what exactly are we gonna be doing?
Today we're gonna get the TCM. This is the Allison TCM program for what we're doing with this truck and everything. We're gonna get this mounted in. This is our little black box module. This operates all the throttle position functions, tap shift and all. That way when we put the new shifter in, ignore the tow haul, because that's not going to do anything, because again in GM and Allison, GM programming, there's a tow haul. All it is secondary shift scheduling that they altered. In Allison, there's no tow haul because it already is going into lockup in second gear. It's just a non-needed function. There's a secondary shift schedule. All it does is lower the RPM. Unlike in GM where it raises the RPM and then causes you to lock up in second gear. These are already at the right RPM and they're already locking in second gear. So what we putting this in so that he has the up-down arrows, because it makes it real easy. That way he's got his tap shift functionality when he wants to use the manual mode. You got our little gear indicator. This will read, when it's all functioning, you'll see it later. This will read out park, reverse, neutral, drive, as well as M for manual. And then down here it reads out 1 through 6, and it'll tell you basically, so say you're in manual mode and you have like 4th gear selected, but you're currently in 2nd, it'll read out 2 and 4. 4 being top of range once you have selected, 2 being the gear you're currently in. So it'll tell you all the information. It gives you more in-depth as to what you're doing. And then from there, our main harness and everything, which will stretch out down under the truck, plug into the transmission, your speed sensors, into the harness, your auxiliaries, your power ground, your ignitions are here, your 2 wires for tap shift are here, and there's a couple other auxiliaries here. A lot of the older trucks need an analog speed sensor signal, so that's what that is. Yours is running GPS, so that wire will just be nipped off, and that's for check translate if you ever want to wire it in. Most people don't ever bother. And then outside that, the last thing is the neutral safety pigtail, and that's literally just a little auxiliary pigtail we make up that makes it easy to wire in backup lights and then the neutral start function.
Heck yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, so what are we gonna do first?
First thing is we're probably gonna bring her down, find a good spot in the engine compartment for mounting these two up, and then we'll probably throw her back in the air, run the harness throughout it, get everything plugged in, and then from there find a good power ground and ignition source so that we can actually get power to these, and get everything up and running. And then from there we'll look at getting this swapped in, and get the old column out.
Heck yeah.
And then yeah, that should be about where we're at for today.
Awesome. Well, here we go. All right, guys, we got the hood popped, and what all are we looking at to take out, put back? What you thinking?
Well, to start, I think we're gonna look at trying to remove pretty much all of this because there's no reason for it. The only reason they would have put this in here in the first place would have been to operate the Dodge tranny, because it looks like basically all they did was pull the drivetrain out of a second generation 12-valve Cummins and dropped it in here. So they took the control unit for the transmission and everything, but none of that's needed anymore. We'll rig up neutral safety through our setup, and other than that, his fuel shutoff should be already run to a solenoid. If not, we'll run it off to a secondary solenoid, and all of this and all this excess wiring that's not even plugged into anything can come out of here and clean up his engine compartment a bunch.
Heck yeah. All right, well, you guys enjoy all the time lapses of us pulling all this stuff out.
What are we snagged up on?
Regulator. All right, go good. Victory. You got a picture of something like that. Oh, sorry. All right there, Matthew. What you got there?
A Dodge wiring harness that was being used for pretty much just running a transmission.
So it's pretty safe to say that it's junk.
Yeah, definitely.
So if anybody wants a wiring harness and a blown transmission, you can hit up Matt. He's probably gonna throw it in the trash around back, so you can come pick it up.
Yeah, that's scrap.
All right, so now that we got that out, what's the next step?
Next step is going to be to finish kind of cleaning this mess up from getting everything torn out. That way we can get the TCM and everything mounted, and then we'll work on running neutral safety and go from there.
Rock and roll.
Cool.
Both of them in.
Yeah,
So what's the next step?
Next step is we're going to finish cleaning up the rest of this disaster, get it all back into loom, get the rest of your weird electrical stuff put back together, like get the relays regrounded, because you have relays that are running fuse panels that are doing God only knows what. So got to get all that back working, and then from there we'll put it in the air, hook the harness up from the bottom side, fish it up, bring it back down. I'll get the harness from this side, and then we'll mount it onto the TCM, the black box. We'll feed our purple wires through the firewall, and then basically from there hook up our power ground ignition to our different sources, and get the shifter put in for the tap shift, and
Heck yeah. All right, guys, so Dave just came back, and the drive shafts are back from getting lengthened and shortened. Throwing a quick paint job on it real quick, you know. Yeah, looks really good. We're gonna throw it in the truck here soon. Matthew is still working on the wiring. Let me show you what he's been up to. It's just been kind of like tedious, boring stuff, so I haven't really been recording it. But, you know, making sure that all the wires for different things are correct, redoing, you know, recrimping, all that stuff. So right now it looks much better. There's way less wires, it's much cleaner. We're still gonna loom all of this stuff, but here is the computer and here is the controller. So yeah, we're getting after it. Good morning, everybody. So we're back over here. Last day, hopefully, of working on this bad boy. Matt, what you got going on?
I'm just getting the dipstick. I was just peeling all the little stickers off of it and crap.
So what are we gonna accomplish, or should we have Dave? He's in the zone, I don't think we should ask him.
Today we're gonna get the free plug wherever it vanished off to put into the transfer case to block off the old speed sensor hole, because, well, yours is broken and you'd like to keep fluid in it. We're going to get the neutral safety switch ran. We're going to get the Allison harness put in, and the computer and everything's already mounted, so we're going to get all that hooked up. We're going to get the starter in and hooked up. Then we're going to drop it down. We'll actually be able to put power to the system so we can find ignition sources, so that we can run power ground ignition for the transmission, and then also get the fuel shutoff solenoid and stuff all rigged back up, being as we gutted out all the factory harness, so we still just gotta find another ignition source to tie in for that. And from there it's gonna be linkages and fluids and
then do some burnouts.
Drive shafts are down there, we'll have to put those in, we'll do that last. But yeah, easily today we should be either all the way there, really, really close.
Hell yeah. Dave, what you putting on?
Neutral safety switch. And the shift linkage I'm going to fabricate here in just a minute. Yeah, to put the neutral safety switch on, there's a gray cover. You take that off and toss it. You put the transmission in neutral, and then you put the switch on, and then it's adjusted, ready to go.
Oh, that's cool.
It's got a little safety ring here. The cover is all about keeping it from moving and shipping and all that.
Nice. All right, Matt, so what all are you doing?
We're about to, I just got at least the length of wire around here for the neutral safety. We're gonna run this up to run as a start solenoid interrupt, basically. So when you're in park or neutral, these two wires will have continuity, so the start solenoid will function. When you're not, they won't, and then you can't start the vehicle, so you don't run people over. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna just plug this in for right now, because we're gonna have to run this up with the rest of everything else. And we're gonna start plumbing our main harness for the Allison here. Kind of get this up in here. Let's go up and over. Over's gonna look closer. Make sure our little arrow indicator is on the top side, even though they're keyed. If you hit it just right, it'll actually slide right past the keyway, and then it's upside down, and, well, very bad things start happening. It creates about 6 dead shorts and starts frying things. So you just want to make sure that arrow's always on the top side. Like I said, it is keyed, but if you hit it just right, it will slide past. Just a flaw in whatever they did. Just blame, I don't know if made that connector, maybe it's a Delphi or something.
Alright, so Matt got most of the wiring from the bottom done, so that's all plugged in. All these pigtails are all plugged in. Everything is up out of the way nicely. So now we're gonna lower the truck down, and then he's gonna plug everything in from the top side and then continue wiring up all the stuff. So we'll show you when we do that. Alright guys, so it's the next morning, and we didn't really show a lot of what happened. At the end of yesterday, we were just kind of busy and then packed up and headed out. And then this morning, me and Simmy came in a little bit late, and Matthew's already freaking, you got this whole engine bay looking perfect. Yeah. So tell me what all you did in here.
Did a lot of rewiring, rerouting, got everything that was in here that was existent into loom, so everything's actually loomed up and tied up now. Everything crossing the firewall is all tied up off the engine and loomed. Everything that was going through the firewall into the engine cab is now all loomed. What we've done is we've isolated out all of the ignitions for all of his solenoids and relays and stuff, and we turned this, which used to be his grid heater fuse block, I guess is what they're using it for, into an ignition block. So we run ignition from inside out to that. So now he has a good place to pick up ignition because, well, the grid heater's gone, obviously, and everything else they were using it for is gone. We stripped all that out. It's sitting on the floor over there. We ran the powers that they were running there, we ran them up here to the battery post, which actually, if you wanted to run another block for dedicated battery powers, would be more ideal. we ran our grounds and all here. So today we're gonna button up putting in the TCM. I just got a wire power ground ignition. It'll be as easy as here, and there.
You can see the bracket he built that holds it right there.
Yep. And
one of the bad
good to go.
Yeah, one of the bad habits that we have is we'll have customers that'll stop by and they'll have done their conversion and they'll just be driving by and say, hey, can I stop by? And you just check everything out. And it's not uncommon, we open the hood and there's a pile of wire here that looks like our scrap wire bin, and the rats got to it. And we just automatically jump in and cut everything back, clean it up, you know, repin them, tie it up.
I know it firsthand because that's been our last couple of days.
Well, that's it, because we opened up the hood and said, oh my God!
There's your car, there's the cartridge of what we removed.
And we've already thrown out a bunch of stuff. This is just like the main harness.
Yeah, so, you know, that's just one of the things that we do, and that wasn't even in the plan on this thing, but once we opened the hood, it was like, yeah, this mess has got to go. So we just spent 2 days cleaning that up.
What all are we, because today is hopefully last day, what are we going to get done? What's left to do, pretty much?
Basically, you just have to finish up a little bit of wiring here. You know, you got the
Power,
wires.
power ground ignition.
Yeah.
Run the 2 wires to the firewall for the tap shift, which is what he's putting up over there.
You know, you got
I'm gonna mount the OBD
controller. That goes to the TPS down here.
Yep.
That goes to our shift indicator. So there's not much left to do to button that up. We've got to run the transmission cooler lines.
Yeah. Front drive shaft has
finish
to go
dialing in. Yeah, put the front drive shaft in. Finish dialing in the shift linkage. And then we're just doing the shifter itself. So what we're doing here is so that, you know, typical tap shift is on the column on your shifter. So what we're doing here, I took that out of the truck because it's a solid shaft. We need to have a hollow shaft to feed the wires through.
This is the original one.
This is
from
one
the
out
70.
of the Ford. Yep.
Okay.
So then what we do is we take this one, which comes off of a 2008 Dodge, because of the configuration, and then what we do is we pull it off. It's on just on a spline. We pop it off.
It fell down.
Oh, there it is. It shot out the little circuit board. It just plugs in. Anyway, and then what I do is I take a 2001 Dodge and I take the knob off of it. It's hollow.
Oh.
And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this, weld that on. So now that'll go back into the Ford, and we have the hollow shaft, and we can always heat it to reshape it to get the same angles and everything as it was factory. And then when we're done, we slip the circuit board and wiring back in, and you have tap shift right on the column.
Well, ain't that something?
Yeah. So once I'm done, I'll get it all squared away and take it over and we'll powder coat it. And it'll be looking good.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well,
We're gonna show you guys the majority of what we just said is gonna happen, so enjoy.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to take and weld those together, and that will go back into the Ford.
Gonna need to be hit first.
I already did.
how's she looking there?
Hot. Well, I taper everything down to a point so you get basically a solid weld clear through. And then it's not going to fall off on your hand when you go to shift.
And just grind it back smooth.
Yep.
cooking?
We have a shifter that is powder coated. Now we'll just let it cool off.
All right, guys, so we've been working hard, and we weren't really showing because we just wanted to get this done. But we got the linkages all done. Everything is zip tied. Everything's in place. We're actually not lifting this back up off anymore. So here is the final bottom of this. And we're going to be lowering it down right now, putting fluid in it, and then hopefully firing it, taking it for its first drive. All right, guys. So we actually have to fill up the transfer case. So right now we're going to do that.
You can hold the jug so the jug doesn't tip. I'm gonna hold this, and then we're gonna do the old switcheroo as soon as we're ready to set
All right, guys. So he's over here with the Allison software. You're setting what, the TPMS and what else?
Throttle position is what I was setting. Just making sure this number right here, highlight it. Just make sure that number right there that we just highlighted in blue actually correlates to what the pedal's doing. So like if you see it now, you can watch it as I depress the pedal here, that little number will, well,
Yep, goes to 100.
Yeah, there's a hard spot in the pedal there, but yeah.
Very cool.
100 and then right on back down. Nice and smooth, all the way back down to 0.
Very cool.
Yeah, pretty much there.
Now we're all tuned. We can, we're gonna load some fluid.
All right, so what we got going on over here is me and Matt are gonna put some fluid in this thing and one step closer.
We're gonna throw 12 quarts in and fire up.
That's right. Use Shell Rotel 1540. It'll be the best. We got
Only the
Milwaukee transfer pump right here. All right, I'm holding the jugs. Matt's sticking the stick in.
All right, here we go. First, 4 quarts.
You can just literally pump the heck out of it, huh?
Yeah, tube down, and then you pretty much just send it.
Gonna give her a try.
Yep. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Turn it off. Gotta do it again. Turn the key.
Okay.
Okay, now hit it.
Just hasn't had fuel in a while.
Try it again. Got air in there. Give it a shot. We may have to bleed it.
He's working. I knew it was just the transmission. No new leaks. Gonna finish putting some more transmission fluid in, then go for a ride. Hell yeah. It cruised under her own power. I'm so excited right now. So he's got to do a bunch of computer stuff. And then we're going to do some test drives, make sure that all the settings are correct. Then I'm loading it up on the trailer and heading home. So we'll see you when the testing starts. All right, guys. So I'm over here in the back seat, but I don't got the interior in. So we brought the beach chair. We got Matthew up front.
Appropriate, we're at the beach, right?
And
I don't know if you guys can even hear us, but what are we going to be setting now?
Right now, we're gonna get it up to temperature because, well, it's cold. Well, Florida cold, but cold.
And then what?
Then we're gonna set the adaptive layering. That way, well, it shifts and drives and does everything else the way it should. Let's give it a go here. That's reversed. And we'll go this way. It is indeed moving under its own power. Let's drive. Drive in circles for a minute to get worse.
All right, guys, so got the truck running. Now I'm gonna end this video right over here. So all of you that have watched this entire thing, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, drop them down below. If you can, smash that like button. It really helps us out. And stay tuned for the next video where you're gonna see us driving this, testing and tuning, and then driving back to Miami with the F350 OBS, but this thing behind us. So we'll catch you in the next video.